Most women don't regain weight because they stopped caring. They don't regain weight because they got lazy. They don't regain weight because they lost motivation. Most women regain weight because no one ever taught them how to live after weight loss success. And that distinction changes everything because losing weight and keeping it off are two completely different skills. And if you've ever thought to yourself, I can lose weight, I just can't seem to stay that way, then this video is for you. Here's the truth most of the weight loss industry will never say out loud. Weight loss is a performance skill. Weight management is an identity skill. And almost every woman has been trained for the first and completely abandoned in the second. That's not a personal failure. That's a structural one. If you've lost weight before, even multiple times, that actually tells me something important. It tells me you're capable. It tells me you can follow structure. It tells me that you can commit. It tells me that you can execute. So why does it come back? Because when women lose weight, they usually have clear rules, clear structure, clear expectation, and a defined plan, a clear start and a clear finish. And most importantly, they have permission to be in a phase, a weight loss phase. Weight loss gives you a role to play. I'm the one losing weight. I'm on a plan. I'm doing something. It's contained. It's temporary. It has an endpoint. And because you tell yourself it's temporary, your nervous system tolerates it for a while. But now here comes the moment everything starts to break. The moment things starts to slow down and calm down, the scale stops dropping every week, when the compliments slow, when the plan ends, when life goes back to normal. That's when most women panic. Not consciously, but subconsciously. Because now there's no structure holding you. There's no urgency. There's no rules, no role, no applause. And suddenly your body isn't in progress anymore. It's just you. And that's when fear shows up. Here's the part that almost no one understands, and it's uncomfortable to hear. For many women, struggle feels safer than stability. Not because struggle is enjoyable, but because struggle is known. When you're struggling with your weight, there's a familiar internal posture. You're trying, you're fixing, you're improving, you're apologizing, promising that this will be the last time. That posture gives your nervous system something to orient around. It gives you purpose. But when the weight starts coming off, when the urgency fades, when the fight fades, something strange starts to happen. Your body doesn't relax, it becomes alert. Because now there's no struggle to hide behind. There's no explanation for why life isn't happening yet. No story to justify staying small. No, I'll do it once I lose the weight. Stability removes the shield of becoming. And for a nervous system that's learned safety inside of effort, pressure, or tension, calm feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels dangerous. So the body doesn't say, this is good, let's just stay here. It says, something is wrong. We don't know who we are here. Here's the truth both women never hear. Your body doesn't crave progress, it craves predictability. And if your emotional baseline for years has been effort, intention, self monitoring, fixing yourself, then stability feels like a void. So the nervous system does what it knows how to do. It creates motion through cravings, emotional eating, distraction, losing routines, accidentally slipping, not because you want to go backwards, but because your system is trying to return to a familiar internal state. This is why many women feel an almost unconscious relief when they fall off. Relief, then guilt, then shame. Then comes the renewed promises, and the cycle starts all over again because struggle has returned and struggle feels recognizable. This is the lie that nobody ever challenges. I'll finally live once my body is fixed. But when the body starts to change, that promise collapses. Because now the question becomes, if I'm not fixing myself anymore, who am I supposed to be? That question is terrifying. So instead of answering it, the body retreats to what it knows, not because it's weak, but because identity without a map feels unsafe. Weight loss maintenance isn't hard because it's boring. It's hard because it removes the structure of the old identity. Struggle was never just something that you wanted to end, it was something that you knew how to be inside of. And until a new identity is built slowly, safely, and consciously, the nervous system will keep recreating the old one. This part is uncomfortable, but it's essential. You know, when you lose weight, you don't just change your body. You remove a version of yourself that your nervous system knew how to be. The version who was allowed to struggle, was allowed to hide, was allowed to postpone her life, was allowed to say, this is just who I am. That version had rules, and rules create safety. So when the weight loss ends and the normal life returns, your nervous system asks a dangerous question. Who am I now without that struggle? And if there's no clear answer, it goes looking for the last identity that felt stable, not happy, not fulfilled, but stable. This is why slipping often feels like relief before you feel the shame. Relief comes first because your body recognizes itself in those old habits again. That's not self-sabotage. That's identity showing itself in the finest form. This is where most women turn on themselves. They say, I need more discipline. I need to tighten up. I know what to do. But you cannot willpower your way into a new identity. Willpower works short term. Identity governs long term. Your nervous system does not respond to, goals. It responds to safety, repetition, and relationship. That's why women who are smart, self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and fully capable, they still end up back here with the weight. Not because they failed, but because they were never supported through the most dangerous part of the transformation. So let's name this clearly. If you can lose weight, but you can't stay there, you don't have a discipline problem. You don't have a consistency problem. What you have is an identity gap because weight loss gives you an external identity. I'm someone who's working on myself. Maintenance removes that identity. Now you're left with something far more confronting. I'm someone who has to live here. No countdown, no finish line, no reset button, just you and a body that is seen, expected, and ongoing. Most women were never taught how to inhabit success. They were taught how to chase it. And chasing feels familiar. Chasing feels safe. Chasing keeps the old identity intact. But living there, living as a version of you who no longer needs to try, that requires new boundaries, new internal standards, new self trust, new nervous system capacity. And none of that comes from willpower, that comes from integration. This is the point where women either unconsciously recreate the struggle or they consciously rebuild identity. Most do the first, not because they want to, but because no one walked them through the second. So if you're listening to this and you think I always fall off once things stabilize, or I panic when there's no plan, or I don't know who I am without the effort, that's not failure. That's the exact moment your body is asking for support, not pressure. Because identity does not rebuild itself alone. It rebuilds in relationship, with containment, with reflection, with guidance, with safety. This is the part of the transformation that was never included in any of the program that you've done. Not because you missed something, but because most systems were never designed to take you there. So before you click away, I want you to pause and recognize something. If you've lost weight before, if you've proven you can start, but something always pulls you back once things stabilize, that's not a personal flaw. That's the moment you were never taught how to navigate. Because here's the truth I want to leave you with. You cannot think your way into a new identity. You cannot diet your way into long-term safety. And you cannot white knuckle your way through fear that was built to protect you. This kind of change doesn't happen alone. If you're ready to stop proving that you can lose weight and start becoming someone who no longer has to start over, there's a link below. It's not a commitment, it's not a pitch, it's a conversation because results don't stick. Identity does.